Welcome back everyone to a brand new edition of the best solo carries, this time for patch 13.11. This is another massive patch, so we have a pretty decent shakeup to the solo carry list, and as always, we'll be covering 3 champions for every single role. Before we get into it, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. Stop wasting your time grinding thousands of games only to see no progress. With SkillCapped, you'll uncover the secrets to climbing ranks fast that only take a few minutes to learn and can be immediately applied in your next game. The best part is it's completely risk-free to try, as you're kept safe with our rank up insurance. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted by clicking the link in the description below. Alright, now back to breaking down the solo carries, starting off with top lane. Although the item changes in recent patches have been focused around ADC, there was one item changed for fighters that has brought Jax back into meta. Trinity Force was just buffed in 13.10, and it's absolutely popping off on Jax right now. We're seeing the item much more in Masters Elo and above, with about a 20% pick rate, while low elo players haven't really caught on yet, only buying Trinity in 8% of games. Jax's win rate is actually being brought down quite a bit for the lower ranks because players are using Rage Blade, but it's just not very optimal. A very simple win condition to play for on Jax is looking to fight on that Trinity Force spike. Dueling power goes through the roof on completion, so if you're unfamiliar with your matchups and don't know exactly when you can fight, playing off Trinity is really good. Matchup-wise for Jax, Malphite is definitely one of his tougher lanes and worth a ban, as the armor stack and attack speed slow of Malphite is difficult to play around. The complete build, offering a massive amount of dueling power, consists of Trinity Rush into Blade of the Ruined King 2nd and Spear of Shojin 3rd. As for the rune page, is lethal tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by free boots and biscuits for secondaries. With the rise of these auto-reliant top lane champs like Jax and Kayle in recent patches, it's brought back even more priority to Malphite. Malphite is an absolute monster in those matchups, winning over 54% of the time, but of course there are still some lanes you gotta be careful about. These AP top laners like Mord and Sylas are who will give Malphite the most issues, so banning out Sylas is a good idea. As for your win condition on Malphite, being able to isolate that fed enemy carry in fights should generally be your highest priority. Trying to sneak into fog is very key with Malphite as well, and a great way to nearly guarantee your R hits. If you're using a max range Malphite R right out in the open, it's not the most difficult spell to flash away, so playing from angles where the enemy can't see you will drastically improve hit rate on R. Build for Malphite is an Iceborne Gauntlet Rush into Sunfire Aegis 2nd and a situational tank item 3rd. For the rune page, roll with Grasp in melee lanes where you will be maxing out W first. Pick up Comet in ranged matchups or more difficult lanes where you will be maxing Q. Like Jax, another top laner on the rise due to the recent Trinity Force buffs is Camille. As a top laner who consistently runs teleport every single game and has amazing flank potential, the teleport buffs last patch have been great as well. Win condition in lane with Camille should be to abuse your teleport ignite summoner combo as best as you can. If you're playing against the enemy who does not have teleport, this is where you can exploit it the most. Taking an even trade with the enemy is actually massively winning if they don't have teleport. You can base, heal to full health, teleport back to lane, and then have complete control with ignite ready and a massive health advantage. Ban-wise for Camille, Fiora or Malphite are both solid options. The build is going to be Trinity Force with Ravenous Hydra 2nd and Death's Dance 3rd or Sterix 3rd. Rune page consists of Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Unflinching. Take free boots and biscuits for secondaries. It was a bit of a shock to see Kha'Zix avoid nerfs for 13.11, but that has been the case, and he's back in the top 3. To be fair, Ghostblade is seeing a nerf, so it's likely that Riot doesn't want to do the classic where they nerf an item and a champion at the same time and end up completely killing the champ. Even with that nerf to Ghostblade, we don't see Kha'Zix dropping out of meta, as he was already an amazing jungler before Ghostblade was a mythic. Fog of War is your best friend with Kha'Zix, and you should always be playing around it. You need to be looking for angles where you can get in behind the enemy team, sneak up on the enemy ADC with your stealth, and take them out before they can even react. You need to be taking those isolated fights with Kha'Zix and catching enemies out when they are alone, so setting up around objectives well before they spawn is very key for the champ. Especially in the lower ranks, the support will just walk in alone to ward, and this is where Kha'Zix can thrive. If you're unsure of who to ban when playing Kha'Zix, you really can't go wrong with Rengar. Build for Kha'Zix is going to be all over the place in 13.11 with Ghostblade nerfed and Duskblade buffed. We expect lethality mythics to be around the same power level now. Rune page for Kha'Zix is First Strike with Magical Footwear, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter are optimal secondaries. Lots of junglers in 13.10 had their win rates inflated due to how broken Ghostblade was, so with them dropping down a bit in 13.11, it's only going to make Evelynn stronger. Eve actually saw a bigger indirect buff than most AP champs in 13.10 due to the Rabadon's changes. Lots of Eve players like building Rabadon 2nd, so you can actually take advantage of that buff in a lot of your games. Playing for your level 6 is a very simple yet effective win condition situation for Evelynn. The champion becomes 10 times more lethal with her stealth and ultimate available, so cycling your camps and hitting 6 as quick as possible is key. Our challenger jungler Skill Shot has a ton of full game commentaries for Evelynn on our website if you guys are looking to pick her up. There's really no better ban than Kha'Zix right now, and it's a great option when playing Evelynn. Standard build for Evelynn is a Rocket Belt Rush, and then Magi's and Rabadon's can be interchanged as second and third purchases. Keystone Rune is Electrocute with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. Best secondaries are Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. For our third solo carry jungler, he's been a mainstay in the top 3 for a lot of Season 13, as Jarvan takes home the final spot. None of the changes in 13.11 affect Jarvan, so his power level will remain extremely high. When it comes down to an early game ganking jungler and someone who can exert pressure right from the jump, nobody is better than Jarvan. Jarvan may not have the same dueling and one-shot power as Evelynn or Kha'Zix, but his ability to start fights in 5v5 is much better. It's no secret that having the winning bot lane is super key right now, which is another reason why Jarvan fits into the meta super well. Enchanters are extremely strong with recent item changes, and hyper carries like Kog'Maw are in meta, so if you can get your bot ahead and play around them, it's super free wins right now. This should really go without saying right now, but if you don't plan on playing him, definitely look to ban Kha'Zix. The build for Jarvan is a Gore Drinker Rush into Black Cleaver second and Death Stance third. Pick up Conqueror for the Keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. One of the most reliable champions of the past few patches has been Ahri, and she kicks off the top 3 for mid. Ahri's laning isn't overpowering, but it's not weak either, as you can do well in the majority of matchups and hit the level 6 where you really come online. Playing around R cooldown is a really easy win condition to follow with Ahri. When the spell is down, you can sit back and look for max range charms, but you don't want to be too over aggressive. With R up, you should be looking for angles where you can dip into Fog of War and be ready for opportunities where the enemy is split from their team. Finding those catch plays when you have the numbers advantage is one of the best attributes that Ahri brings to the table. Using your ban on a champion with point and click lockdown who can shut down your mobility is never a bad play, so Annie is a good option in that case. The build for Ahri is an Everfrost Rush into Shadowflame second and Zanya's or Rabadon's third. Roll with Electrocute as the keystone, followed by Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter. Mana Flow and Transcendence are the best secondaries. With Ghost Blade Abusers dropping in power for 13.11, back in the top 3 for mid lane is going to be Annie. Annie is such a phenomenal pick for solo queue right now, as she's so simple to play, yet hard counters a majority of the meta mids. Annie thrives against Yasuo, Yone, and Katarina, so if you're having difficulties against those high mobility melee mids, Annie is the play all day. Longer range pick champs are who Annie runs into more issues against, so banning out Lux or Syndra is good value. Annie's point and click stun is one of her biggest strengths and allows her to shut down melee champs super hard in teamfights. Finding that 3-man Tibbers stun is great and all, but if the enemy team is one-fed carry, make sure they aren't allowed to play the game by holding your stun and preventing them from going in. Build for Annie consists of a Luden's Rush into Shadowflame second and Zanya's or Rabadon's third. Grab Electrocute for the keystone with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. Mana Flow and Absolute Focus are the best secondaries. Annie and Ahri are 2 of the best mid lane mages for 13.11, while Fizz holds the crown as the best assassin. Fizz is winning a ton into meta mids like Katarina, Yone, and Aurelion Sol, while he doesn't have a ton of bad matchups for solo queue. Pantheon and Vlad are 2 picks that can be more difficult to play into, so either is a good ban option. You want to play Fizz in a very similar fashion to Ahri, as finding picks from Fog is where he really thrives. In the mid game, shoving out side waves and then looking for rotational plays to mid is your bread and butter. After shoving out the side wave, you wait for someone on the enemy team to go catch that side wave and either go pick them off if you can one-shot them, or look for a fight with your numbers advantage in mid lane. As for the build on Fizz, Luden's is always the rush option, while Zanya's and Lichbane are great second and third options. Run with Electrocute for the keystone, followed by Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Ingenious Hunter. Triumph and Coup de Grace are the best secondaries. Kicking off the top 3 for ADC in 13.11 is going to be Lucian. Now, you might be wondering, well, aren't Gale Force and Stormrazor nerfed this patch? How is Lucian going to be any good? Both items are being nerfed. However, Lucian has an alternative build you can run that is equally as strong that is being buffed. Quick Blades is seeing some buffs this patch, and Lucian can run a 2-item core of Essence Reaver and Quick Blades to a ton of success. Many of the strong 13.10 ADCs were great because they could abuse Stormrazor, but most of them don't have amazing alternatives like Lucian. More AD being tacked onto Quick Blades will make Lucian's 2-item core hit insanely hard, and it's a great win condition to play towards. Matchup-wise for Lucian, he can struggle a bit more against longer ranged ADCs like Caitlyn, so she's a good ban option. The complete build you're going to want to try on Lucian for 13.11 is Essence Reaver with Quick Blades and Rapid Fire Cannon. First Strike and Press the Attack are both viable keystone options for Lucian. PTA will provide a bit more all-in power early on in lane, but First Strike will help you accelerate to that mid-game spike faster, so both have their strengths. Generally, when you're paired with Nami, running First Strike is best, as you don't really need the added damage from Press the Attack to win trades. No nerfs to Rage Blade for 13.11, so that means you can expect expect Kog'Maw to be the king of the bot lane once again. Hurricane is seeing a small nerf, but it should even out considering the majority of other ADCs are being hit even harder. Many other ADCs are being knocked down with the Storm Razor and Gale Force nerfs, so it will give Kog even more priority. Playing off your Rage Blade spike is going to be vital to your success with Kog'Maw. The item provides so much power when fully stacked, so you don't want to be forcing random fights until you got the item completed. Rage Blade completed with Ghost popped and an Enchanter by your side will have you winning nearly every single 2v2. It's not really other ADCs who you should be focusing your ban around when playing Kog. Hard engage or super long range are the only things that can beat Kog, so banning a meta engaged champ like Malphite or Hecarim is a good idea. The core build for Kog'Maw revolves around a Rage Blade Rush, while Blade of the Ruined King, Hurricane, and Wit's End are all solid second and third options depending on the game. For runes, roll with Lethal Tempo, followed by Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand. The best secondaries are Conditioning and Overgrowth. One of the few ADCs that does not get affected at all by the item nerfs this patch, at least for his first 2 purchases, is Twitch. Twitch has been loving the new Rage Blade and popping off with a Blade of the Ruined King into Rage Blade core. Hurricane nerf will hurt a bit, but it's a later purchase for Twitch, so it's not going to hurt as bad as the Storm Razor and Gale Force nerfs for many other ADCs. Be proactive as possible throughout the game, looking for roams or catch plays with stealth. Whenever you're walking back to lane with Twitch, if the wave is not immediately crashing under your tower, check mid lane to see if it's gankable. If you've got the enemy shoved under tower, Twitch poke is relatively weak, so using that time to roam mid is great as well. Twitch is most vulnerable playing into comps with heavy dive, so using your ban on Malphite or Hecarim is good value. For the rune page, it's Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Grab Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. Although there are a few nerfs to Enchanter items this patch, they are looking very light, so we have Janna as our first support selection. Echoes of Helia is seeing a small nerf this patch, but it should not push someone like Janna down in power very much at all. With there being so many hyper carries in meta like Kog'Maw, Jinx, and Aphelios, pairing them up with Janna is as close to guaranteeing a win as you can get. A Kog that does not die right now is going to 1v5 fights, and by playing Janna, you enable him so well and prevent dive champions from functioning. As long as you're sitting back with your ADC and not getting caught out yourself, you should be seeing great success on Janna in this meta. Longer range champions that don't need to engage to be effective are who Janna can struggle against most, so banning Xerath is a good option. The build for Janna consists of an Echoes of Helia rush into Ardent Censer or Staff of Flowing Water second and Redemption third. Keystone rune should be Glacial with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Font of Life and Revitalize are the best secondaries. With the support meta being primarily dominated by enchanters right now, it's giving Blitzcrank a ton of value. The only enchanter Blitz does not have a positive win rate against is Janna. Vision control is very important to seeing maximum results with Blitzcrank. Taking 5v5 fights out in the open are fine for enchanters, but for a hook champ like Blitz, you always want to be picking somebody off before a team fight even starts. Focus on your objective timers, control vision around them before they spawn, and catch the enemies with your hook as they walk in to try and ward. Ban-wise for Blitz, Rakan and Ezreal have the ability to nullify your hook power quite easily, so either is a good ban option. Build to run is a Shurelya's Rush into Zeke second and Knight's Vow third. Grab Glacial for the Keystone rune with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Optimal secondaries are Bone Plating and Unflinching. A bit of a shock to see Emilio avoid any direct nerfs for 13.10, so he will remain an incredibly strong carry. Emilio will lose a bit of power due to the Ardent Censer nerfs, but nearly every enchanter had been abusing this item, so he won't become any weaker relative to everyone else. The utility that Emilio brings to the table is on another level compared to other enchanters, and he can turn his carry into an unstoppable force. It's all about amplifying the carry power of your competent teammates, so identifying who's strongest on your team and playing for them is how you will see the best results on Emilio. Don't tunnel on only protecting your ADC all the time. Even though you can do a great job at keeping your ADC alive, if they're inting but your top lane Jax is popping off, playing towards your top laner is going to be more ideal. Champions with long range pick power are who Emilio can run into issues against, so Blitzcrank is a good ban. Build for Emilio consists of a Shurelya's Rush into Ardent Censer second and Staff of Flowing Water third. For runes, it's Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries. So that's going to be all for this one, guys, but if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then go to SkillCapped.com. With premium courses for every role and skill taught by the best players, SkillCapped is the perfect platform to help take your game to the next level. Take our Wave Control course. While you wait for your next game to start, you can learn freezing, fast pushing, slow pushing, bouncing waves, the list goes on, all in just a few minutes to maximize your improvement rate. Or maybe you just like seeing your opponent's health go to zero. Then you'll love our trading course. We even have a skill test at the end so you can see how good you really are. Players just like you are leaving 5-star reviews and raving at how helpful they are. That's not all we offer though, as every week we release 10 brand new Smurf commentaries where a challenger player teaches you how to climb out of the exact rank you're stuck in. If you're looking for something more personal instead, then we got you covered with one-on-one coaching from our trained challenger experts. All this seems too good to be true? Well, don't worry, we're backed by a rank up guarantee. guarantee. If you don't significantly improve while actively using SkillCapped, then you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and get the rank you've always wanted. That wraps everything up for our 13.11 edition of the best solo carries. Thanks so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and we'll catch you in the next one.